Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Attorney General Bondi, for being here on this long day. And I want to thank you most of all for your leadership in your whole career defending victims. And now I want to take a moment to talk about you protecting victims from a different kind of child abuse, that medicalized child abuse that goes under the banner of gender-affirming care, that far too many of my Democrat colleagues enthusiastically support and unapologetically support. Shortly after returning to office, President Trump signed an executive order directing HHS to review the clinical evidence and determine whether sex-rejecting interventions caused more harm than good. HHS reached the same conclusion that the UK and Finland and Sweden reached, that the risks are serious and that imposing this so-called care on minors was not appropriate. This executive order also directed you as Attorney General to, quote, work to draft, propose, and promote legislation to enact a private right of action for children and the parents of children whose healthy body parts have been damaged by medical professionals practicing chemical and surgical mutilation, which should include a lengthy statute of limitations. Last September, you transmitted that bill to Congress. It has been my honor to introduce that bill as the Chloe Cole Act. We named the bill after Chloe Cole, who sat where you're sitting just a few years ago on her 19th birthday. During a hearing chaired by now Speaker Mike Johnson, I'd like to play a clip of her testimony that day to remind us of our story.
Onto puberty blockers and then testosterone. The resulting menopausal-like hot flashes made focusing on school impossible. I still get joint pains and weird pops in my back, but they were far worse when I was on the blockers. A month later, when I was 13, I had my first testosterone injection. It's caused permanent changes to my body. My voice will forever be deeper, my jawline sharper, my nose longer, my bone structure permanently masculinized, my Adam's apple more prominent, my fertility unknown. I look in the mirror sometimes and I feel like a monster. I had a double mastectomy at 15. They tested my amputated breast for cancer. And I was cancer-free, of course. I was perfectly healthy. There was nothing wrong with my still developing body or my breasts, other than that, as an insecure teenage girl, I felt awkward about it. After my breasts were taken away from me, the tissue was incinerated. Before I was able to legally drive, I had a huge part of my future womanhood taken from me. I will never be able to breastfeed. I struggle to look at myself in the mirror at times. I still struggle to this day with sexual dysfunction. And I have massive scars across my chest. And the skin grafts that they took of my nipples are weeping fluid today. And they were grafted into a more masculine positioning, they said.
Chloe testified that day that what she needed was mental health therapy, but she never received it. And she was not suicidal until after they did these horrible things to her. She pleaded with Congress to act so that future children would not suffer what she did. Last week was a major turning point in for these medical malpractice claims when a detransitioner was the first to successfully hold doctors liable with a $2 million settlement for what they did to that poor girl. Just days later, the American Society of Plastic Surgeons announced that they would no longer do transgender surgeries on minors, and the AMA followed suit. This proves that if the bill your DOJ drafted were passed into law, these barbaric practices would end immediately, because all victims would be able to hold those who harm them accountable. Could you share with us a little bit about your work in advocating for victims like Chloe and what a private right of action would mean for victims like her and their families?
Yes, and first, Congressman, thank you for championing this bill. And also to Chloe, what a brave young woman to come before this body.
Yes.
And
at age 19.
At age 19, and talk about what happened to her. It's not about just giving relief to children who have been harmed. It allows victims whose healthy body parts have been damaged to seek relief and obtain relief. And thanks to you, and we are proud to work hand in hand with you on this issue. And I think it's pretty sad none of your colleagues on the other side of the aisle even brought that up. But I hope they support this to protect all children throughout this country.
Well, General Bondi, thank you so much to you, to your department, to President Trump. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back.
Support journalism you trust. Support PBS News. Donate now, or even better, start a monthly contribution today.